honest with you, as Coach Sanderson said today, that we kind of walked in there with the expectation that we were going to blow them out. And anytime you walk in there thinking this game's wrapped up, we don't have to show up, you might as well turn around and walk right back into the dressing room. And bits and pieces that I watched of that game last week, I didn't watch all of it, I'll be very honest with you, but it was not the same team on the floor. And I think it was, like I said, they didn't think they had to turn the switch on. And it's one of those situations where, knowing Troy and Terry, I think I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall about halftime in the dressing room. I think I might have learned some new words.
Well, looking at the other side of things, the Philadelphia Wings have no doubt struggled out of the gate so far this year. An 11-9 loss last week at Boston. This Philadelphia Wings team, they've struggled, no doubt, not making the playoffs too often, just once in the last 7 years. Got the most titles in league history, 6. Their last one, though, was in 2001. So there's been a bit of break, I guess, in the success of this Philadelphia Wings team. But, I mean, what do they have to do, really? I know they're missing, obviously, some big guns up front this year, but I mean, what do they do? I mean, this is obviously a big game for them. The difference between 1 and 4 potentially, or 2 and 3, depending on the result of this game, very big even this early in the season.
Well, at this point in time, nobody wants to be three games down in the loss column of their own team. Never mind who's ahead of them. I mean, Mike, this whole thing about the Eastern Conference, it's a lot tighter than people give it credit for. I mean, in reality, it used to be you had 3 teams here up top and 3 teams down below. That's no longer there anymore, and basically anybody can beat anybody on any given night. A lot of it boils down to what's between the pipes. Knowing Philadelphia, knowing one of their owners in Mike French, I've known Frenchie for, wow, let's just say too many years to count, or too many years to say, because I'll be dating myself. But I can guarantee you he's not a happy camper with this situation in any way, shape, or form. And if there's changes to be made, Mike French won't hesitate to make those in any way. He will do whatever it takes for this team to win. Is the potential there? Yeah. What I watched in the game in Boston last week, and I'm not going to single out anybody, but it seemed that there were some people that were more interested in extracurricular activities than were playing the game. And you can't have that. You got to play as a team, you got to move as a team, and they were a lot of one-on-one situations. There wasn't a lot of situations where the ball was bang, bang movement and a guy cutting through. And I know Dave Huntley very well. Dave Huntley is a proponent of that. The ball's got to move, and you got to move your feet. Dave Huntley once told me years ago that teams will look for athletes before they'll look for lacrosse players.
And then there's a few individual stories that are quite interesting tonight. We'll start on the Philadelphia side of it. The Thornton Trophy winner, Max Sebald, makes his NLL debut tonight after being acquired by the Philadelphia Wings from the Boston Blazers in exchange for a first-round draft pick and future considerations. And what can fans expect from Sebald tonight with, I guess, limited to no box lacrosse experience, except maybe a practice this week? What can fans expect to see from a player making the transition from the field game to the box game?
I think they can look to see somebody that is a fantastic athlete. But as you know, and we say it all the time, box lacrosse and field lacrosse, the only thing they share in common is the name lacrosse. Field lacrosse players, until they spend some time in the box, aren't used to the tight quarters. I mean, you're playing on a soccer field basically in field lacrosse. So, I mean, you could have a guy, the closest guy to you could be 30 yards away from you. You look in the box on offense, and you're looking at a situation where your closest guy could be 3 feet away from you. And when you're cutting through the middle, you're looking at taking tight passes.
We got to touch quickly on a couple other stories on the Rock side of things. First of all, the return of Kim Squire. Last game he played was the 2006 NLL Championship game when he was a member of the Buffalo Bandits. So it's been a few years, and we just hear him getting introduced here on the floor. Formed a dynamic duo, of course, during some of the Rock Glory days with this man, Colin Doyle, who we see hitting the floor now. But what's Kimbo? What can we expect from him tonight?
You know, it's funny. I had a chance. I know the Squire family quite well, and I had a chance to talk to his brother, Eddie. And Eddie told me last week, or this week just passed, that he said Kim is in the best shape he's ever been in years. And he's settled himself down, and his dad even told me he's really settled himself down, and he's looking at living a good life, and he's working hard. He and Colin Doyle are working out 3 or 4 days a week, and he's probably in the best shape he's ever been in.
Now, one other major story that could develop here tonight, could be a history-making one. Colin Doyle enters tonight's game with 991 career points.
Wrong.
And there you get a look at him there. And I know, Blair, you think he was maybe shortchanged in assists last week or 2 weeks ago here, their last home game. But that guy right there that you're looking at right now, Colin Doyle, he needs 9 points tonight to become just the third player in league history. The other two, of course, John Tavares and Gary Gait, to reach that 1,000-point plateau.
And you can't say enough great things about Colin. You really can't. I mean, growing up in this franchise, and really, literally, he did grow up in this franchise. He has been day in, day out workaholic. I mean, you go down and see him in the dressing room after games, and he's spent. There's nothing left in the tank. And, I'll give Colin his dues. I hope he picks it up. In fact, I hope he goes over it. He's that kind of a player where years ago he used to be a goal scorer. Now he's turned into that player that, hey, that guy's ahead of me. He's got a little more room. I'm going to give him the ball. And I got to give him his dues in that aspect. He's grown that way as a player, and I really have a lot of respect for Colin Doyle.
All the Philadelphia Wings just now taking to the floor here at the Air Canada Center. And as far as Colin Doyle goes, of course, the Rock have another game this weekend, Saturday night. Tomorrow they will play in Buffalo. So it's pretty likely that Colin Doyle will hit that 1,000-point career mark sometime this weekend.
Yeah, hopefully they don't have to fly.
No, hopefully I don't think they'll be flying to Buffalo, but... All righty, we will now direct your attention down to the floor as we pause for our national anthems this evening.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriots love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Ladies and gentlemen, Katie Griffin.
All right, there you have it. A great job by Katie Griffin with the national anthems here tonight in the building. And we'll talk about the starting goaltenders here off the top for the Philadelphia Wings. It will be Rob Blaisdell getting the start in net tonight, Blair.
Well, Blazers do. He's going to have to stand in his head because I'm expecting Toronto, probably from the stern talking that they got after the last game, they are going to come out firing on all cylinders. So he better be ready for an onslaught real quick.
And at the other end of the floor, of course, Bob Watson will be getting the start in net after he didn't finish the game last week in Rochester.
Well, what was his goals against for the first 3 games of the season? 6 or less?
Yep.
I mean, at some point in time, you've got to have a mental letdown. Hopefully for Bob, they're very few and far between this year, and hopefully he's got the defense going with him, which he didn't have last game. Because I'll tell you, this pressure defense, you and I talked about it last time we did this game, it is something to watch. And folks, I'm telling you, if you've never seen this, this team does not give anybody a chance to spend time with the ball.
Of course, Bob Watson was the January Player of the Month, and Garrett Billings was the January Rookie of the Month. So the Toronto Rock actually swept the league awards for the first month. And lots of stories to touch on tonight. We'll be touching on them, of course, and we'll have the pens and the calculators going tonight on Colin Doyle just to see if he does, in fact, rack up 9 points. He did put 10 points on the board in the Rock's season opening win over the Boston Blazers, so we know he's capable of putting up 9 points in a game, and we'll keep our eye on it here tonight. Kyle Wales with the ball on the near side now for the Philadelphia Wings. Wales trying to work his way towards the net. They shoot and they score right off the hop. It's the Wings getting on the board, and a decent start to this game as it's Dan Teat putting the ball in the back of the net.
And I'll tell you, the coach that's behind the bench in Toronto knows that number 51 very well. But what a great move by Wales, stepping down through the middle and all of a sudden in full stride, hitting Teat around the crease, and a one-timer. Whipper never had a chance to even get across to that ball.
Wales put up 41 assists last year. He's a great setup man, and you saw that great soft touch at the side of the goal there from Dan Teat on that goal. Loose ball in the corner there. Blaine Manning takes a couple of bumps now. It's thrown back up the gut, and a loose ball chase now as the Philadelphia Wings in hot pursuit of this loose ball. Here's a chance for Sweeney, and he scores. Kyle Sweeney in transition. The Rock turned over the ball and perhaps a bad pass, and it's 2-0 Wings 1 minute into this game.
Well, both goals have actually come off of turnovers because the last goal was the one where Blaine Manning tripped and the ball came right out. Both goals in this situation have come right through the 5-hole, and this won't last long without the top of Coach Sanderson's head going a few shades of red.
So the Wings will get things cooking again here on offense. Jason Crosby with the ball will feed it across the floor. Another guy to keep your eye on here for the Wings is big Drew Westervelt, who's really burst upon the scene, had a huge season last year in the league, and right now doing similar things again this year for the Philadelphia Wings.
Yeah, he started out like a house on fire but cooled off the last couple. He really was hot the first game.
So the Rock now will be looking to get on the board themselves. Garrett Billings will move it for Doyle, who will shoot, and there's a stop by Blaisdell. Loose ball is recovered there by Casey Behrens, and the Rock will get a fresh 30 to work with. Billings will move it off for Blaine Manning. Manning, a little shake and bake there towards the middle, a dish it off to the far side. Kim Squire's first shot on goal tonight is stopped there by Blaisdell. And again, the Rock will reset with another fresh 30. Doyle steps to the middle. He shoots, and Blaisdell steps in to make that save. Manning's got it. Another fresh 30 for Toronto to work with. Squires shoots, stopped again there by Blaisdell, and this time it's the Wings able to pick up the loose ball and transition up the floor.
Toronto's got to get some penetration, Mike. Right now, everything is from the outside.
Wales will push it off to the far side. Now it'll come back for Crosby. Some quick ball movement there, but a missed pass, and it rolls right to the stick of Steve Hoare. Hoare will bounce it back there for Billings as the Rock will finish up their change. We've played 3 minutes here in the first quarter. Philadelphia leading it 2-0. Billings floats one to the other side. Shot, scores! The Rock are on the board, and it's one of the star rookies as Steph Leblanc finds the mark.
What a great eye from Billings to see this lane and pick up LeBlanc down the far side. He threw an absolutely gem of a pass, hit him in full stride, and he buried it. But they got the movement to the net. The shot wasn't from 30 feet out.
And the other great thing there, with Toronto off to a bit of a rocky start, the fact that it was one of the young guys that ends up putting the ball in the net. It's a nice touch there that it wasn't one of the vets, but these young guys are stepping up in situations, even though it's early in the game.
Well, we've talked about it before. It's the young guys that have stepped up, and a lot of that has been because Doyle has been able to let them step up, and they got to do it again and continue to do it.
Ball turned over in the middle there, and the Toronto Rock will take over. Hobbins on the run. The Rock have numbers, but that quickly evaporates. There's a shot stopped by Blaisdell. He bobbled it a little bit, but he'll quickly outlet the ball. And the Wings will try to get something cooking in a hurry. Sweeney, though, runs into a wall of Rock defenders, and he's got to turn away. Sweeney still with the ball, and he loses it as he couldn't find any help. Jeff Gilbert has it now for Toronto. He's on the run. 3 guys back for Philly. He'll have to slow things down and wait for a little help of his own coming off the bench. Garrett Billings has it. He'll float it along there for Casey Behrens. Behrens having a look to the other side of the floor, but moves it to Billings, who had a bit of room to move down low. Billings, though, forced away. Garrett Billings now will spit the ball out to the far side. Finds LeBlanc, his high shot. Stopped there by Blaisdell. Loose ball is picked up by Bill McGlone. And the Wings will move it back up the floor as we've played just a little over 4.5 minutes now in the first quarter. 2-1, the Wings lead it. Kyle Wales will push it off to the far side now. Quick dump. Back inside, and that pass bobbled on the way to the goal, and the Rock will be the benefactors there by picking up the loose ball.
Okay, Rock family, your boys go!
Here's a chance going right to the goal. They score!
Sorry, Mike. I was. We just got some information sent to us that it isn't Blazer in net. It's Brandon Miller, and neither one of us picked up on that. And I was busy looking at that, and to be honest with you, didn't get a chance to see the goal. But
well, that's an interesting one there. Unfortunately, from up here and on their official roster sheet that, of course, is given to us, Rob Blaisdell is actually circled as the starter here tonight. So,
and it's signed by the coaches of the team. So, I mean, that's actually, if they started without the other way, unless there was an injury, that's a penalty.
2-2 the score here, 9:53 to go in the first quarter. We'll take a short break. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on the NLL Network.
We've switched it up this game, and we have 2 sets of pairs who are going to wheelbarrow their way from the half line all the way to this white line here. Contestants, are you ready? They're going to win themselves a pair of JB Goodhue boots. On your marks, get set, go! Oh, I think the boys are in the lead. Brian and John, you are our winners. Congratulations, you've just won yourselves a pair of JB Goodhue work boots. Built for work. Thank you, guys.
Welcome back to the National Lacrosse League here on the NLL Network. A reminder that tonight's game is brought to you in part by Reebok. Reebok, imagine the way you play with Reebok's new 10K O-Tech handle and 10K head. Performance engineered, technology-driven, NLL-proven. Your move, Reebok Lacrosse. Find all of the new Reebok Lacrosse gear online at Reebok.com. Just about to resume action down here on the floor, and yes, in fact, it is Brandon Miller in net for the Philadelphia Wings, despite the initial lineups that we were given here tonight that said that Rob Blaisdell was going to get the start, which we did think was, in fact, a little bit of a surprise that Blaisdell was getting the start here tonight over Brandon Miller, but it is, in fact, Mr. Miller, the veteran of many, many big games in Canadian box lacrosse, of course, at the Minto Cup level and also the Mann Cup level. And he has had some success here, of course, in the National Lacrosse League as well. Bounced around a little bit, but been very, very successful wherever he seems to have landed, and now in Philadelphia finding a home. And he's the man backstopping a team that really is trying to, I think, regenerate their identity, I think, a little bit.
I talked with Brandon before the game, and I asked him, because I know he was his health was not great through the summer, and he said everything's great right now.
Squire with a pass that's picked off in the middle there by Taylor Ray, and he'll quickly outlet the ball. This time it's Jeff Snyder with the break, and Snyder with a couple of fakes, and he scores. And Jeff Snyder, again, the Philadelphia Wings taking advantage of a turnover and putting it in the back of the net.
Well, as much as we say nasty things about Jeff Snyder, you can't take away his enthusiasm for this game. He absolutely loves it and loves to play the game. And you just saw that after he put that ball in the net with the pump fist. And, he's a great draw man, and he took the ball off of that feed, off the interception that was made by Taylor Ray. And absolutely two fakes buried at short side on Bob Watson.
So Taylor Ray, who had the takeaway there, ends up picking up the assist. And Jeff Snyder with the goal. So 3-2 the score now. The Philadelphia Wings lead it. And interestingly enough, the shots on goal right now, Philadelphia has 3 shots on goal, and they have 3 goals. And the Toronto Rock have 2 goals on their 8 shots so far in this game. Out of the scrum, it's the Rock coming out with the ball. Rob Marshall with it. Marshall surveying the situation. We'll dump it off now for Garrett Billings. Manning trying to work a little 2-man game there with Billings, but he takes it to the net himself, and he ties this game up at 3-3.
Blaine Manning on his old summer goaltender. Great shot. Fooled Brandon. I think Brandon thought he was going long side, and he ended up pulling it down through the 5-hole. But that's where Blaine Manning is most effective, when he can take the ball from high to low, one-on-one.
Brendan Doran ends up coming up with that ball, and he fires it up the floor to Sandy Chapman. The Rock have been using both Stephen Hoare and Sandy Chapman on the draws so far tonight against Jeff Snyder, trying to figure out the best way to beat him. There is no way to beat him. Is that what you're saying, Blair?
There's no easy way to beat him.
Doyle fakes, and he drops it home. Colin Doyle gets on the board here tonight, and the Toronto Rock have their first lead of the evening.
Toronto now offensively is starting to get the movement that we talked about that they have to. They're taking the ball north-south, coming east-west on the movement through, and Philadelphia isn't staying with them. So that's what Toronto's got to do. Philly's not sliding on defense. What's that? 1 down, 8 to go.
That's Doyle's first point of the night, so he's at 992. Here comes Philly again. That shot rings right off the post, as it was Bob Snyder with that shot. 7 minutes to go now in the first quarter. 4-3, the Toronto Rock lead it. Garrett Billings slammed against the boards on the near side now Blaine Manning trying to give him a little bit of help, and Billings fires a shot that ends up in the crowd. There's another shot from Doyle. That one stopped there by Brandon Miller, and it'll be the Philadelphia Wings that pick up the ball. Taylor Ray now on it at mid-floor, and he'll hand it off there. 6.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. The Wings now trying to go to work on offense. Kevin Huntley had the ball there. He dished it off, and Huntley actually struggled a little bit in his first few games, but he had a pair last week in the loss, and now Huntley trying to battle his way down towards the goal. He's got it again, but he's stripped of it, and he's knocked to the floor as the Rock will take over again.
Kevin also had a nice little 5-minute major last game for having a little dive at Mr. Cosmo's legs, but Kevin's a great player. He played midget for me 1 year back years ago, and that was his experience in box.
Blaine Manning. Garrett Billings. Delayed penalty coming. Bob Watson was making his way to the bench, and now Doyle gets floored in the middle of it all, and a few guys get together, have a little chat. And we'll see if there just maybe more than one penalty handed out here. And Jeff Snyder is not too happy.
He's got 4. Second two for the illegal cross-check when he was laying on the floor.
Jeff Snyder averaging 9 penalty minutes per game so far in this season. So the Rock will get their first power play of the evening here. Everybody will get a touch. Back up top, that shot goes high. Loose ball on the floor, off the end boards. Everybody in there in the mix battling for it. It'll be the Rock coming up with it. Quick pass onto the crease, they score! Blaine Manning had to tightrope the crease, that's for sure. And the Rock strike on the power play, and it's 5-3.
And what made this goal was Casey Behrens fighting for the ball on the floor. Did a great job, got the ball back out to the top. At that point, Philadelphia's diamond was in total disarray. Quick ball moving across the crease and back from Doyle back across to Manning, coming down the middle. Great job by the Toronto offense.
Big hit there off the draw. That's Manning's 9th goal of the season, and we're going to have a penalty coming up here that will even everything up, as it's Jeff Gilbert that will head off for Toronto. And we will be into a 4-on-4 situation, I believe, on the floor. With 5:21 to go here in the first quarter, a 5-3 Toronto lead.
Which will leave Philadelphia with a short 6-second power play at the end of this.
They'll move the ball around the perimeter. Westervelt trying to make his way down towards the goal. Pushed out there as Hoare meets up with him. Huntley. Checked. Kept to the outside as well. Wales fires one across. They score.
Oh.
Wales pinpoint passing tonight. And Westervelt draws the Wings back to within 1.
Great job in this situation for Westervelt to go to the open floor behind Rob Marshall. Absolutely great job, snuck down there, and what a pass by Wales. You nailed it right in the head. You talk about pinpoint. He didn't even have to move other than the fact to move his stick forward to put it in the net. That's what they call quick stick in the ball.
5-4 the score here in Toronto tonight. We could be in store for a high-scoring one the way we've started so far. We'll take a short break. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on the NLL Network.
$5 after the game. Jack Astor's on John Street, home of the official Toronto Rock post-game party. Making it to the NLL takes hard work. Players need a pocket that catches the ball in tight situations and places a shot with perfect accuracy. Mark Mesh is the official mesh of the NLL and the first choice of pro players everywhere. If it's your dream to play in the pros, give yourself the advantage with Mark Mesh. For more information, visit markmesh.com. That's MARCmesh.com. Get the performance and quality your hard work deserves. JB Goodhue is a proud sponsor of Toronto Rock Lacrosse. JB Goodhue, built for work.
And get ready for the Proline fans of the game. If you are 18 years of age or older and are selected as a Proline fans of the game tonight, you both win a Proline prize pack valued at $250. Plus, you and your friend will be upgraded to premium gold seats to watch the remainder of the game. There are 2 Proline fans of the game prizes to give away tonight. So
welcome back to Toronto in the Air Canada Centre, where the Toronto Rock lead the Philadelphia Wings 5-4. Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Mark Mesh, the official mesh of the National Lacrosse League. Mark Mesh is a pocket that catches the ball in tight situations and places a shot with perfect accuracy. If it's your dream to play in the NLL, give yourself the advantage with Mark Mesh. For more information, visit markmesh.com. That's MARCmesh.com. So 5-4 again the score here as you're watching the National Lacrosse League on the NLL Network. Toronto out shooting Philadelphia 13-5 here in the early going, and of course Toronto did have a power play in the mix there as well. But the other thing is Toronto did have that one stretch where they took 3 or 4 shots in a row and continued to get that possession again and were able to reset it again. So they weren't able to come up with a goal there in that situation, but I think that's maybe a bit of an explanation as to why the shots on goal are fairly one-sided here so far.
And I think, in all honesty, that Philadelphia started out moving the ball with cuts. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Blaine Manning's shot is stopped there, and again, we're perhaps seeing the Toronto Rock go to work here in a series of repossessions. Casey Behrens will move it off to the far side. Doyle now flips it off, and a little bit of interference away from the ball there, and that'll turn it over and give the ball back to Philadelphia.
And Kim Squires and Colin Doyle did that for years. Unfortunately, that time Kim got called with a wee bit of an illegal pick.
Kyle Wales with some room to go to the net. He shoots, and that's turned away there by Watson. Loose ball picked up by the Toronto Rock. Pat McCready on the run for the Rock. He'll slow it down and dump it off. Again, there's not too much differential in terms of the penalties that are up on the board. That's why we're playing 4-on-4 right now. Blaine Manning back into the middle now as Billings was checked on the way through by Sweeney. Sweeney picks up the ball, and he's got a quick outlet up the floor in a hurry as he finds Bob Snyder. Snyder turned away, and now he'll settle the situation out there on the floor, and Bob Snyder, after moving the ball, will head off. Jeff Snyder now out of the box. That shot rings off the pipe. Jeff Snyder picks up that ball, and he'll be able to settle things down. Snyder will go to the bench, and the Philadelphia Wings will reset things on offense as we're back to full strength on both sides of the ball here. Stiff check there, slows down Jeff Gilbert. Now Gilbert trying to find some room, trying to get away from Huntley, who takes one whack at him. Gilbert leans into one defender, and then will dump the ball off to Kim Squire. And the Toronto Rock now will pause a little bit to get things set up on offense. Garrett Billings with the ball. Inside, Doyle making his way to the net, and Brandon Miller answers the call. Pass back through the middle, and Casey Behrens is hammered on the way through, down to the ground. And that is going to give the Rock the ball back, I believe.
I'm not sure. I think I saw a referee, Angelo, pointing that it is Philly ball. Yes, it is.
After a little skirmish and some discussion, it will be a Philadelphia ball. 2:44 remaining here in the first quarter. Kyle Wales, who's definitely been quarterbacking things here tonight for the Philadelphia Wings, has got the ball again. He screams a pass through the middle. Westervelt can't track it in off the end boards, and the Rock will take over again. Quick pass back up the gut. Blaine Manning backpedaling, having a look. Finds Colin Doyle coming in off the bench. That shot stopped by Miller as he steps out to make a big stop. And in transition again, the Wings trying to run the floor in a hurry. Snyder going to the net, turned away there at the last moment Shot stopped again as Bob Watson been making big saves in big situations as Josh Sims was stopped in tight.
That was a very smart move by Jeff Snyder, realizing he was on his wrong side and pulled the ball back out and reset it.
Billings trying to work his way to the goal. That shot finds the mark, beats Brandon Miller, and we've seen Billings thread the needle from out there all season long already, and it's 6-4 Toronto.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Mike. I was going to say that seems to be his office right there coming off that pick, which was absolutely beautifully set right there. A nice little seal by Manning, and he just picked the top corner on Miller with a rocket. But Philadelphia isn't doing what they were doing at the start of the game, both offensively and defensively. Offensively right now it seems like they're relying on Kyle Wales to get things going and set things up. Defensively they're not sliding the way they were.
Steph Leblanc battling his way down towards the cage, but some good work on the back end as well there by Sweeney to thwart that attempt. Colin Doyle with the ball now, trying to find some room to make it down towards the goal. Pass in front, and LeBlanc is turned away there by Brandon Miller. Pass pops up a little bit high, but on the run now is Mike Ward. Ward will dish it, and he'll head off as Kyle Wales will again be the main ball handler on offense. Crosby feeds it across the floor. Now back to the near side as McGlone was looking for some room. Wings will get the ball back again here, and Wales' shot off a leg. Rob Marshall able to pick it up, and now Toronto in transition again as we are well inside the final minute here. 6-4, Toronto leads it. Blaine Manning trying to weave his way through a bit of traffic. Now he'll back off, fire it to the other side of the floor. Doyle being worked on there on the far side. Now he gets a little bit of room, dumped down onto the crease, shot, and I think that one caught the post, and it stayed out. 15 seconds left in the quarter. Full 30 to work with. Watson's going to go to the bench in favor of the extra attacker here. Doyle, the no-look pass inside, and the shot low to high from Casey Behrens goes over the net, but a nice no-look into the middle. 6-4 the score after one, Blair.
Philadelphia did a great job right there collapsing their defense, realizing that Behrens was on the crease with the ball. Great job defensively, shutting it down, not letting them get that shot away in the last 6 seconds.
We'll take a short break here as the first quarter comes to a close. We'll be back in a moment here with more action. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on the NLL Network.
www.torontorock.com.
Backley Construction is a proud official construction company of the Toronto Rock. Hey fans, don't forget to pick up your official Toronto Rock Game Day program full of lively action shots, engaging editorials, tonight's lineups, and a trivia contest. Makes a great souvenir for only $3. Pick up yours today.
Hey folks, pucker up for the Kiss Cam.
Welcome back to the National Lacrosse League here on the NLL Network here in Toronto tonight. After one quarter, the Toronto Rock lead the Philadelphia Wings 6-4. And if you're looking for the greatest NLL highlights on a DVD, look no further than NLL Rugburn. Relive all the action of the 2009 NLL season. Available now, Rugburn features the best goals, hits, fights, and cheerleader action on one DVD. Visit rugburnlacrosse.com to purchase your official NLL Rugburn DVD. That website address again is rugburnlacrosse.com.
Would Rory Smith and Jeff Snyder be on there by chance?
I think they might be in there under the dance category. Yes, yes.
Well, Philly's got to get back to what they were doing in the first 3 minutes of this game. That's getting their offense moving and not being flat-footed. They do that, they'll...
Jeff Snyder's pass that was intended there for Matt Giles, a little bit out of his reach.
That's tough to do with Matt Giles.
Indeed.
He's only got about a 12-foot reach. Then add the stick.
Pass inside, shot stopped quickly there by Miller. And the Wings will work it back up the floor. Tom Hayek gets bumped from behind, but still able to make the play. We're going to have a penalty coming up. Miller will make his way to the bench. Extra attacker will hit the floor right now for the Philadelphia Wings. 12 seconds on the shot clock to work with in this 6-on-5 situation. Giles with it. Fires it to the far side of the floor. Dump inside. And a stop there by Watson. Another opportunity. That ball hits the carpet, though. The Rock pick it up, and that'll draw the whistle. 14:03 to go in the second quarter. And we'll have a penalty coming up against the Rock.
Did he signal 5?
Steph Leblanc will be going off. It was a check from behind, it looked like, was signaled on the floor.
No, just a deuce.
So the Philadelphia Wings now will go to work on the power play, down by a pair of goals here as we play just over a minute in quarter number 2. And they score right on top of the crease. Matt Giles finishes after missing that pass moments ago. He got himself in a great spot right on top of the crease, and his goal draws the Wings back to within just 1.
And the greatest thing about that goal, Mike, the ball movement. They did what they had to do. They got the ball moving technically behind the goal line, drew the 2 Toronto defenders down low on the crease, left Matt Giles wide open, and the ball right in his stick. Great pass.
Yeah, the 34-year-old Giles seems to be perhaps getting better with age. His 70 points last year were a career best. Billings tries to spin away from a check down low before moving the ball off for Behrens. Now he'll get it back and work one-on-one against Ward. Billings takes a couple of whacks in there. The stick comes up a little bit high. Bill Fox says that's off the shoulder and rolled up. No penalty. Pass inside. They score.
Guess who?
Feels like 2001 in this building right now. Kim Squire feeds Colin Doyle, and the Rock have their 2-goal lead back.
And this goal came off of the play that Doyle made, giving Kim Squires the ball, keeping his feet moving, going to the open floor to the net, and nobody went with him until it was too late. But that's what made the goal. Make the pass, keep going.
Jeff Snyder flips that ball up on the back of the stick and runs away with it there. And eventually, it'll be the Philadelphia Wings coming up with it. Bill McGlone, another former Toronto Rock, in the lineup tonight for the Philadelphia Wings. That ball knocked away there and picked up by Steve Hoare with 12:55 to go in quarter number 2. Scott Campbell will hand it off there for Kim Squire. Now on for Steph LeBlanc. Rock will try to go to work as Manning has a little bit of room. Pass off onto the crease for LeBlanc, but he bobbled that pass a little bit. LeBlanc drills one at the goal, and that's kicked away by Miller. Loose ball picked up again by Blaine Manning. It wants to go right to the cage, and Miller turns him away, and that ball flips back towards Miller. He hops out of his crease to pick it up, and he'll bounce it up the floor. Taylor Ray draws some attention to himself before moving it along. Now Giles, the most recent goal scorer for Philadelphia, dishes it off. Dan Teat with it now on the near side. His pass back across the floor is stopped by Watson. And a loose ball pickup there by Brendan Dorn, but we're going to have a whistle on the play, and it looks like we're going to have a penalty coming up.
Looks like Sandy Chapman's going for the hold. It's a pleasure to see right now when this game's going this way, when you got both teams offensively moving, defensively sliding. It's two right now very even teams playing this game.
7-5, Toronto leads it. 11:45 to go in the second quarter, and it's the Wings on the power play. Matt Giles scored with a man up just a moment ago. That ball knocked down there by Steve Hoare. Loose ball rolls back over, and no reset there. Toronto never had possession of the ball. 7 seconds on the shot clock. That pass misses Giles down low. Westervelt with it, fires one right on goal. Watson trying to rake it back in and pick it up. He does so. And the Rock now will have an opportunity to go on the kill here for a couple of moments. The ball quickly moved up the floor to Garrett Billings. Ward watching Billings again here. Billings now will just go for a little bit of a stroll here as the Rock will try to kill some time off the penalty. Less than 10 on the shot clock now. Quick pass inside. That was looking for Doyle. Went right by his stick, and Steph Leblanc couldn't pick it up either. Kyle Sweeney's got it, and he outlets it for Jeff Snyder. 10:45 to go in the second quarter. The Wings trying to narrow the gap again. They've been playing catch-up with Toronto for the last few minutes after holding a few early leads of their own. Giles fires one down to the crease. Back to Giles, cutting through the middle. Loose ball picked up there by Westervelt. Westervelt winds it up. The rip down to the crease. Huge save by Bob Watson. What an incredible stop by the Whipper coming across to shut the door. Battle for the ball, a major league scrum down there against the end boards. And eventually somebody's going to fish it out of there, or they're going to blow the whistle, one or the other. And they do blow the whistle, and they're going to call it a Toronto ball. Bill Fox will blow it back in, and the Rock will bring the ball up the floor. Pat McCready with it for Toronto. Moving on for Kim Squire, who's looked pretty good, and I guess maybe even more importantly, he's looked pretty confident out there as well, working with Colin Doyle on that side.
Just like riding a bike.
Blaine Manning for Garrett Billings. Back along for Kim Squire. The pass inside, shot, and that one misses as the 30 was expiring. And with 9:30 to go here in the second quarter, we'll have a break on the floor, so we'll take a break as well. 7-5, the Toronto Rock lead the Philadelphia Wings. We'll be back with more as you're watching the National Lacrosse League on the NLL Network.
All right, Rock fans, I'm in section 107, and we are here for our Pizza Minute of Madness. So get up off your feet. Let's make some noise for our personal size pizzas. I have our Hot Rock dancers here. Come on, girls, let's go down. All right, section 107, let's hear you. Get up off your feet. Pizza, always hot and fresh.
The Toronto Rock would like to welcome the following groups to tonight's game.
Welcome back to Toronto. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on the NLL Network, and Don't forget that after tonight's game, the Wings head back to Philly, where they will host the Titans tomorrow. But unfortunately, that game has been canceled. But if you want to know a little bit more about how you can get tickets for the rest of the season, you can check out wingslax.com. That's wingslax.com. And more importantly, as soon as that game is rescheduled, of course, that will be posted at nll.com as well as the Wings website. So you want to keep on your eye on that for the resched and details on that Orlando-Philly game that, of course, has been canceled due to that storm that has hit the East Coast. And there's a shot, and the Toronto Rock have increased their lead again. Steph Leblanc coming to play here in front of the home fans once again tonight. And the Rock now have a 3-goal lead.
I almost made comment when Phil Sanderson made the pass to LeBlanc about 5 feet inside the center stripe. I was almost going to make comment that right between two defenders, this is going to get picked off. Having said that, Sanderson made a great play getting the ball up and feeding it.
Turnover there off the face-off. Pass across the floor intended for Brendan Doran, but it just missed him, and now Garrett Billings out there on the floor quickly. Will calm things down for Toronto as they will finish up their change. 14 seconds on the shot clock as Colin Doyle has it. Doyle steps towards the middle of the floor looking for some room to shoot, but he's turned away. Now he wants to go back at it again, dump out of the crease, and that shot is stopped as Blaine Manning was in a prime scoring area but just couldn't beat Miller.
And you don't see Blaine Manning stretching out. Go ahead.
Snyder's shot. That one ended up a little bit wide of the mark, and it'll be a transition opportunity here for Jeff Gilbert, but the Wings pretty good with their change as they've got the longer change here on defense now. Billings. A little bit of room, closed off quickly. Now Kim Squire has it. Back for Campbell. Campbell trying to work his way down. Billings will shoot, and Miller moves to his right to make that save. Here's a chance, and a nice strip there from behind as Billings looked like he was ready to bury again from right on top of the crease. Manning shoots. Miller the stop again. And Toronto really has been owning the Wings when it comes to those second opportunities and getting those loose balls off those shots on goal. There's a nice around the back attempt from Huntley that just missed the mark. And now the Rock will go for a little bit of a run here again. Doran will push it off. That shot stopped there by Brandon Miller. And the Rock continuing to pile up the shots on goal, but Brandon Miller hasn't looked too bad really in this game, despite the fact he has given up 8 goals. The Rock have almost doubled Philadelphia in terms of the shots on goal.
And that's a situation that's not going to please the coaching staff too often. You got to let your defense get a rest. You can't take that quick shot and turn the ball over.
And just like that, the Rock come firing back the other way. Marshall will give it to Billings right beside him. Marshall will get off the floor and get the O out there. Doyle takes it from LeBlanc. Doyle will shoot, and Miller again up to the task, and it looks like Colin Doyle really wants to shoot the ball tonight. He doesn't seem to be giving up. Once he's turned away, driving to the middle, he seems to want to go back at that one more time, as he had just 3 goals coming in, and that goal is going to be waved off. Crease violation against Philadelphia, and immediately the flag is thrown from the Philadelphia bench. So we are going to have our first review of the night here with 6:03 to go in the second quarter. Great scoring opportunities at both ends of the floor, and there you get a look at Rick Crowder, who is the official in charge of the shot clock tonight, actually, but he was just on the headphones there as they're sorting things out, and they'll get a look at the replay. And it's Bill Fox in there trying to sort things out, as we can see below us. But there
would not surprise me that this was overturned. It would not surprise me. I didn't see it close enough on the movement. He definitely was across the crease The question is, did his foot hit the ground before the ball went in the net or before the shot left his stick?
Well, right now, Bill Fox still reviewing the play. Down in the box, and there was absolutely no hesitation, though, from the bench in terms of throwing that flag. And
this is close.
Oh, Bill Fox, he's got his decision. He's stepping out on the floor. Stick with the call on the floor, no goal.
Mike, these little things I got in front of me here came in pretty handy. I could watch that little computer screen like it was about 4 feet in front of me, and definitely his right foot went in the crease once you get to look at it.
And you just saw a look at that replay, and Bill McGlone was moving through the crease, and I believe also made contact with the goaltender there before the ball went in the net. So no goal. Call stands. It was made on the floor. 6 minutes to go now. 8-5. Toronto leads it. And they will push the ball up the floor. Colin Doyle trying to drive to the middle again. We'll push it off now for Billings. He'll get it back. Doyle, watched by Ward there. And a stop by Miller on the long shot from Doyle. Loose ball picked up, this time by the wings. Taylor Ray has it for Philly. Finds the help off the bench in the form of Crosby, but he dropped the ball on the way through. And the ball's just flipped up the floor. And perhaps here's a break for Scott Campbell. In all alone, shoots, and Brandon Miller again making big saves to keep this just a 3-goal game, as the shots on goal now favor Toronto 31-15.
That would have been a great assist from Colin Doyle, who just flipped the ball out of his end to stop from getting called going back into the crease.
Westervelt now trying to work one-on-one against Marshall there. The pass bobbled by McGlone a little bit. McGlone now steps around his man. He shoots, and that one's taken away. Here comes Toronto up the floor. Phil Sanderson, the dish for Billings, and he misses. We're going to have a penalty coming up here on the play. Bill Fox has his arm up, and we're going to see what it is. Looks like it's going to be a slash. It's going to be called on the play with 4:44 to go in the second quarter.
Looks like it's going to Hayek. Oh no, Hayek's just coming over to talk about it.
All right, well, we'll sort things out here. We'll take a short break on the NLL Network, and we'll be back with more from Toronto in a moment.
Run until 10:30 p.m. The pickup area is located on Bay Street, right outside of Gate 2. So don't miss your chance to be part of the Toronto Rock post-game party at Jack Astor's 133 John Street. I'll see you there.
The Rock rely on Trainer's Choice braces, keeping you in the game. Trainer's Choice braces, now available at participating Shoppers Drug Mart stores.
Hey. From all of us here at The Rock, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. The Toronto Rock wishes everyone celebrating today a very happy birthday.
Welcome back to Toronto. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on the NLL Network. And following tonight's game, the next Rock home game is 1 week from tonight when the Rock hosts the Edmonton Rush. Game time here at the Air Canada Centre next Friday is 7:30. Make sure you're here as Brody Merrill, Gavin Prout, and the new look Rush take on the Rock here at the Air Canada Centre. For tickets, log on to TorontoRock.com. So the Colin Doyle count, we'll update that. Point number 992 tonight was a goal. 993 was an assist. 994 a goal. So he's still got 6 to go. Lots of time on the clock here for Colin Doyle to hit that 1,000 mark here at home.
Well, if he doesn't, I'll put money he does tomorrow.
Billings shot blocked on the way through, knocked down to the floor, picked up by Taylor Ray, and Ray has Leblanc all over him. He forces the ball loose, and it's turned over. And a great play by the Toronto rookie, who has put the ball in the net, and now he's showing us that he can play a little defense when needed.
And a great play on the short man by Sims, to step up and block that shot from the top from Billings.
Manning for Doyle. Billings back to Doyle, and he just missed that quick stick on the crease. Otherwise, that would have been in the net for point number 995. Flipped up ahead. Kyle Sweeney picks it up just over mid-floor for the Philadelphia Wings, who have just under a minute to kill off. Westervelt will rip it across the floor. Will be bounced there for Matt Giles. 40 seconds to go on the penalty. 3 seconds on the shot clock. Huntley will just spin and fire. It'll miss the mark. And Pat McCready will pick it up, and he'll just keep on rolling here with 3:15 to go in the second quarter. Rock will get their power play back out on the floor as they'll get another look here with the man advantage. Doyle, LeBlanc, Doyle, Billings, LeBlanc shot, misses. They'll pop up in the air towards the Rock bench. It'll stay in play, knocked down, shot, stopped by Miller. Second opportunity, they score. Casey Beers on the follow makes it 9-5.
Here comes the challenge flag. It's out of Huntley's pocket. There should have been a reset. I'm almost sure of that.
There we go. Huntley has thrown the flag, and he was a little weary about it because this is already his second challenge.
And I think what they're challenging is the fact that the 30-second clock had expired. And I looked down, and I was sure it was at 0 before the shot was taken. Referee Bill Fox has left the floor for some reason. He went out the Toronto bench.
Now we've now got Rick Crowder out on the floor, who was working the shot clock. So now Angelo Cafagna will just throw the flag to the timekeepers there, as I guess they're saying that what they're challenging, I think, was an unchallengeable call. I don't think you can challenge whether or not the 30-second shot clock expired. Maybe we'll get some clarification from the league office on that at the half, but we'll take another look at it here. Doesn't really look like there's anything wrong on the goal. Like you're saying, if they were challenging the 30, they've taken away the challenge flag because Huntley's thrown 2 already tonight, which means he doesn't have any more as he was unsuccessful in the first attempt. And you have to be successful on both challenges to get a third in the game. And after being unsuccessful in the first, that eliminated the opportunity for a third. So throws the second flag, and he's all out of challenges. Campbell knocked down. There's going to be another penalty coming up that will send the Rock to the power play again. Watson makes the long run to the bench. They get the extra attacker out there on the floor with 3 seconds on the shot clock. Doyle tried to pass for LeBlanc that didn't connect with the rookie. And with 1:53 to go in the first half, 9-5 Toronto leads it, and they are going to get another chance on the man up. So it's Matt Giles that heads off.
He's actually quite lucky he didn't get a second one once the first one was called.
So the Rock will move it around. And Kim Squire right on the crease. Nobody came to him. Taylor Ray let him just shoot that ball, and it's 10-5 Toronto.
And guess who picked up another assist? Great job. Patience, patience, patience. And you can't say any more than that about Kim. Kim got to stand there with the ball, 3 or 4 fakes. he's a pretty happy camper getting back into his first game and picking up his goal on the power play. But I think Colin just picked up his 4th point, 2nd assist.
Not only is it Kim Squires' first goal of the night, but hey, it's his first goal in almost 4 years. And Brendan Dorn and Jeff Snyder were doing a little bit of pushing right in front of the benches. And it looks like
Snyder's getting 2 for holding.
Hey, number 4, take a seat because you just cost your team another Rock Pro Line power play. Text Pro Line at 20.
so the Rock are up 10-5 here, 1:30 to go, and they get another power play here. Squire. Have a look back up top. Find Doyle. Doyle has it again up top. He'll backpedal and switch off there with Leblanc. The dump inside, and Squire scores. We've seen it all before as Doyle feeds Squire, and it's 11-5 Toronto.
Another power play. Kim Squire's office has always been on that crease, on the power play, and another assist for Colin Doyle, which gives him 5 on the night.
Rock goal scored by number 93, Kim Squire.
As we mentioned, Kim Squire's last pro game was the 2006 NLL Championship game, in which he was a member of the Buffalo Bandits and lost that game to Colorado. He did have a goal and an assist in that game, but tonight he's got a pair here and looking pretty comfortable out there playing again with Doyle. Pass looking for Blaine Manning on the crease there, and Philadelphia has some work to do here as we're in the final minute of quarter number 2, the first half. About to come to an end with Toronto up 11-5 and out shooting Philadelphia 36-15 right now as well. That shot misses the mark. Loose ball picked up off the end boards. Giles, long shot, and he hits the pipe. But here's a potential breakaway going the other way, and that one just out of the reach of Colin Doyle. So the Wings will get another opportunity here with 23 seconds left in the first half. They'll play for the last shot. No doubt about that. Goaltender on the bench. 6-on-5 on the floor. Wings move the ball around the outside. Giles tries to pass back, and the Wings just ran out of time a little bit late, getting things cooking there. And the Toronto Rock 11, the Philadelphia Wings 5 in a pretty impressive showing as the Rock seemed to start to pull away a little bit in the latter half of that second quarter.
Well, the Rock started doing what they should be doing. They started their ball movement. They started their feet movement. Offensively, they started their slides on defense. On the other side of the coin, Philadelphia got away from what was doing them in the first quarter, where they stopped doing the movement. They stopped getting themselves into open positions. So, you know what? In order to get this game back, Philadelphia really has to start moving their feet, moving the ball, getting north-south, creating east-west.
All right, so the Toronto Rock have themselves a 6-goal lead at the half over the Philadelphia Wings and a decisive advantage in shots on goal. Mike Hancock along with Blair Campbell. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on the NLL Network. We'll take a short break at the half. We'll be back with a little halftime report towards the end of the half. And stay with us. You can do a little game flipping here at the half if you need to, but we look forward to joining you or having you join us again for the second half. Stay with us.
Hey, fans. Hey, fans, please welcome to the floor
Welcome back to the National Lacrosse League here on the NLL Network. We're at the half here in Toronto at the Air Canada Centre. 11-5, the Toronto Rock lead the Philadelphia Wings. A heavy advantage in shots on goal. And just before we get to talking about the first half a little bit here, we will remind you that there is more action tonight on the NLL Network at 9 o'clock Eastern. It's Orlando and Colorado. At 9:30, it's Edmonton and Calgary. And then at 11 o'clock, Minnesota against Washington. And, of course, you can watch all that action right here on the NLL Network. So lots of lacrosse on a Friday night. And Blair, an interesting first half. Philadelphia got out of the gate pretty good. They had a couple of one-goal leads, but then eventually Toronto kind of just took over. And Philadelphia did score on each of their first 3 shots in this game as well. And since then, they haven't been able to muster really much of anything in terms of offense, as they've got just 16 shots on goal at the half.
Well, I think the only way it can sum it up is, as we said, Toronto come out slightly flat. Philadelphia was moving. When they got the ball on offense, they had their players moving. They had the ball moving. And guys were going to open floor, and Wales was having a great time finding guys. Since that time, they've kind of stopped or slowed down doing that, and I think Toronto got their legs underneath them, and they have been running. They have been non-stop offensive. It's not just the ball, it's also the players. And as I said, I think when Toronto's defense is at its best is when they're sliding, closing the distance on guys, not allowing them to get the quality shots. And I think they started doing that. I think for Philadelphia to be successful, as I said, Philly has to get back to movement. And they have to get back to talking to each other on the back end of the floor.
A couple of those stories that we're following tonight. First, we'll touch on the return of Kim Squire to the Toronto Rock lineup. He has a couple of goals in the first half, both coming on the power play. And he certainly looked like he has not skipped a beat whatsoever working with Colin Doyle.
Oh, no. It's like I said. It's like riding a bike. I mean, what can you say? Like I said, the two of them work out probably 3 times a week together, so they're constantly talking. They've been friends all along, and I think it's going to done nothing but benefit. And I'm glad to see Kim back in the game. I really am.
And the other one we're following, of course, on the Toronto side anyways, is that of Colin Doyle, who entered the game tonight 9 points shy of the 1,000-point mark. And if he does it, or I guess it's really just when he does it, he will become just the 3rd player in league history to accomplish that feat. The other 2, John Tavares and Gary Gate, both ironically still active in this league, although one took a little bit of a break and one's injured right now. But 5 points so far tonight for Colin Doyle, so he's just 4 shy of the mark.
Yep. And you know what? What I'm seeing, I like, because what Toronto's doing is Doyle's getting the ball. They're running their offense through Colin, so he's getting the opportunities basically every chance he's on the floor.
And we should mention the 30-second shot clock is challengeable. And I think, Blair, you just saw it, and I think I did see a yellow flag go back onto the bench of the Philadelphia Wings. So it looks like Huntley and the Philadelphia Wings have actually gotten that second challenge flag back.
In our conversation that you and I had off air, we were talking about, and I mentioned to you, well, that was his second challenge. If it's a non-challengeable offense, then the flag should go back to them, and they should have that second challenge left. Now, whether they considered it a non-challengeable offense at that point in time or not, at least they've given them the flag back. Interesting note, no Bill Fox back on the floor.
No, that was something that on that stoppage, Bill Fox did leave the floor, and Rick Crowder, who was operating the shot clock, was summoned to duty, and now he is out on the floor right now, and he is about to perform the face-off to start the second half as we take a look at some of the first half highlights there that saw the Toronto Rock get out to this 11-5 lead. So we'll keep our eye, and obviously if we see Bill Fox back out on the floor, we'll know that everything is okay, but we'll try to find out word if anybody has any info up here in the press box. We'll try and communicate that to you as to whether or not Bill Fox will return to this game. But I don't think there was anything that I saw that happened to him, and it looked like he left the floor actually fine as well. So we'll see. Hopefully Billy's okay, and he'll be back out on the floor.
Well, I know Bill tapes his own ankles before the game, and maybe he just stretched something in that isn't quite right, and doesn't want to hurt it beyond there.
Well, the Rock will go to work here on offense to start off quarter number 3 as we played about 30 seconds. Doyle float inside for Squire, and these two guys, they're working together quite nicely here, and as the game goes on, they seem to be getting better and better looks, and there's a pass that is taken away literally by the Rock D, and Steve Hoare runs the ball up the floor. Billings will just dish it off to the far side as the Rock will get working on their change. That shot stopped by Miller, and it goes way up into the stands.
I'll tell you one thing. I don't think I've seen a ball off a crossbar almost make it into the second level.
Well, there we go. We just got the scoop on Bill Fox. He pulled a quad, apparently. So a leg injury, and Bill Fox is done. That's coming from some folks within the Rock organization. Here's a break, and big stop there by Watson. We saw Snyder successful in a similar situation to that earlier on tonight. But right there, the battle won by the veteran, Bob Watson.
I kid Bill Fox a lot in the summer. Go ahead here.
Blaine Manning trying to get a step on Ward, the pass off, and they score. Casey Bearns finishing to make it 12-5.
And this is what this Toronto team does so well. They get the ball, they catch the ball, they move in tight spaces.
And we've got a challenge flag out on the floor now.
As I started to say earlier with regards to Bill Fox is a great guy. I love Billy Fox, don't ever get me wrong. But I kid Billy Fox a lot in the summer when I say to him, it's a good thing they don't put a pedometer on you and pay you by the running that you do. And trust me, Bill takes that the way it's meant in jest.
And there's an interesting situation really here as Angelo Cafagna, the official tonight, who did not start out as the crew chief, is now the crew chief. So he's probably taking part in his first video review, or one of his very first video reviews, as he's a rookie in the league this year as an official.
This is close. This is real close. His foot might have been on that line. Oh, it's a goal. Geez, I'm doing well, 0 for 2.
So the goal will stand. Again, the call on the floor will stand.
Assistant number 16, Blaine Manning, and number 17, Stephen Leblanc at time of the goal, 1:47. Here from Manning and Leblanc at 1 minute 47 seconds.
So we're going to have to make a quick correction there on that play on the floor. The challenge flag actually came from Toronto, as it was just returned to the Toronto bench and Troy Cordingley. So I guess there must have been a no-goal call there. I didn't see them wave that goal off, but I just saw Angelo Cafagna. He ran over and gave that challenge flag back to Troy Cordingley.
Are we watching a different game than what's on the floor?
So it was, in fact, I guess it was called no goal on the floor, and it ends up being overturned. So he gets that challenge flag back, and if he is successful in a second challenge, he would end up with a third challenge.
Great stop there on that outside shot by Bob Watson, but also very fortunate because the ball came off his right side, landed beside the net, and spun back towards the net from the spin coming off of his body.
Couple of checks there. Doyle with a bit of room. He'll dish it off, but it's picked off just as quickly there by the wings. And Kyle Sweeney, who has one in transition, will dish it off. Here's an opportunity and a stop by Watson. Second chance they score as Kyle Sweeney finds the back of the net on the second chance. And the Wings are on the board for the first time in the second half.
Great job picking the pass off from Colin Doyle, but a great job by Philly in the fact that they ran the ball up the floor. And when I first saw this, I wasn't even sure if Sweeney took that to an overhand. I thought he might have just scooped it into the net, but on the replay, as we saw, he did get the ball above his waist and feed it. Watson was just a little slow getting up.
Ball stripped away there from Sebald. And the Rock will come back the other way. We haven't seen a lot from Sebald so far here in this game. Making his NLL debut tonight, a first-round draft pick this past summer, or fall, I guess we could say. 8th overall pick. Feels like fall, but it's still summer.
I don't know. Does it even feel like winter right now? Maybe on the eastern seaboard.
Jason Crosby. We'll move it off there for Giles. Quick pass back in the middle. Shot. They score. Again, that great ball movement. And Kyle Wales this time. He's played setup man most of the night. This time he gets one of his own, and it's 12-7.
That is a perfect situation for our audience to understand what I'm talking about ball movement. That ball movement they just did created space in the middle. That let Wiles get to the middle and allowed him to get a shot off on a quick top shelf shot on Bob Watson over his left shoulder. But that's what you got to do to get this ball movement and create the defense to move and get out of your way.
So a couple of goals on the board here for Philadelphia. Had 5 shots, a couple of goals. So far, so good on the offensive side of things in the early part of the second half. Billings shot, Miller right there to make the save. And he'll outlet that ball on the right-hand side for Ward. Ward will pause, dish the ball off. Westervelt will move it off to his left. McCready all over Teat. Now he's chasing him. The double comes. Loose ball on the floor. Picked up there. Westervelt on for Huntley. Dumped behind his back. Ball ends up on the carpet, though. A little push as the ball was loose for McCready. No whistle, and McCready's got it. McCready being watched closely there by Huntley. Some good pressure there to slow down the Rock break. Blaine Manning has the ball stripped. He lost his stick in the process too, and Taylor Ray on the run. Ray now having a look. He'll wind it up. He'll shoot, and that one stopped by the whipper, but it also looked like it caught a piece of the post on the way through after. Long shot again, stopped there by Watson. Loose ball in the corner. Sims trying to pick it up for Philly. And it's the Wings coming out of that scrum with it, and Watson again steps up to make the big save. Steve Hoare will give it off to Garrett Billings. 9.5 minutes to go in quarter number 3. Billings trying to bully his way down towards the goal. He throws it over his back, and that does not quite work out. Fans, don't forget that this copyright telecast of the National Lacrosse League Incorporated may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the National Lacrosse League. If you're looking for the greatest NLL highlights on a DVD, look no further than NLL Rugburn. Relive all the action of the 2009 National Lacrosse League season. Available now, Rugburn features the best goals, hits, fights, and cheerleader action on one DVD. Visit rugburnlacrosse.com to purchase your official NLL Rugburn DVD. That website address again is rugburnlacrosse.com. We'll take a short break here on the NLL Network. A reminder, you're watching the National Lacrosse League here live from Toronto on the NLL Network. We'll be back in a moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, the best looking dance troupe in the NLL, your Toronto Hot Rocks.
Welcome back to the National Lacrosse League on the NLL Network. Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Reebok. Reimagine the way you play with Reebok's new 10K O-Tech handle and 10K head. Performance engineered, technology driven, NLL proven. Your move, Reebok Lacrosse. Find all the new Reebok Lacrosse gear online at Reebok.com. The score 12-7 in favor of the Toronto Rock here with 9:15 to go in quarter number 3. I'm Mike Hancock along with Blair Campbell, bringing you all of tonight's action here from the Air Canada Centre on the NLL Network. And don't forget, lots of action still to come tonight on the NLL Network, so stay in front of your computer, keep watching more lacrosse. Lots to see here on a Friday night. Long shot, that misses the mark. Hobbins trying to pick it up and pops loose. Nobody seemed to know where it was for a moment, but now it'll be Cam Woods running ahead to pick it up. He'll flip it behind his back. A bit dangerous, and Hobbins has a little bit of trouble with it. He's tied up for a moment. Another turnover there. Fresh 30 now to work with for the Philadelphia Wings as they quickly transition things up the floor, trying to take advantage of this turnover. Jordan Levine will dish it off now for Huntley. Levine will head off. Westervelt turned away, wants to go to that net. He'll kick it out for Matt Giles. Giles has no room as a double came right when he got that ball. McGlone switching hands, trying to go around behind the cage and trying to drop one in there. Maybe leaning the other way a little bit, but 30 expires, no shot there as we've got just a little over 8 minutes to go now in the third quarter.
Well, that one would have been another questionable one. It was right on the 2-1 mark on the shot clock.
Taylor Ray will push it up ahead. He was looking there for Josh Sims, and Sims couldn't catch up with that pass after he missed it. And quickly up the floor, Blaine Manning doing a little cherry pick it up there. Got the ball, but the Wings quickly out the back door.
Oh, be nice. Blaine just read it right. After the top, so he just stayed there and waited.
Billings now with some room will shoot and score. Garrett Billings took advantage of things quickly, and it's 13-7 Toronto.
We just saw a different shot out of Billings. It was low. He's usually picking the top shelf. But again, what a rocket. This ball was by Miller before he knew what was gone, before he even got a chance to move. Picked him low on the stick on the glove side. Great shot. Again, coming off the feed and the screen.
Yeah, and a great job by Blaine Manning. And Josh Sims was not too happy about the type of interference, we'll say, that was run on that play.
At 7 minutes,
Are you making reference to the cherry picking Blaine
Well,
Manning?
no, just that Billings had so much room there to shoot. I think Sims thought maybe Manning had a little more of a little touch on that pick, maybe a little hold there coming through. So
we got a penalty coming to Philadelphia. I'm not sure what it's for. I did not see the call.
it was 7:06 to go in the third quarter. Toronto will get a power play.
Must be a bench minor for too many men.
You just cost your team another pro line power play.
Yep, it's Max Seabald in there to serve it, and he is the in-home tonight for Philadelphia. In-home tonight for Toronto is Brendan Doran. Manning with that dish off to Leblanc. He's all kinds of wrapped up there by Taylor Ray. Loose ball, though, recovered by Doyle. Doyle for Manning. Manning. Flip it back there for Doyle. On the crease, shoots and scores. Casey Behrens finishes it on the crease, and Doyle with another point.
And again, you can say it till we're blue in the face, but that quick ball movement in and out of a stick, as long as it's less than a second, bang, and again, what we just saw right there was classic Colin Doyle. No look pass. He was looking at the top guy on the power play and made the pass to the crease.
Assist number 7, Colin Doyle, and number 16, Blaine Manning. And time of the goal, 8:18.
Levine
Beers
up with the ball.
Doyle and Manning at 8 minutes.
Gives it off there for
seconds.
Wales. Westervelt didn't have much room working on Marshall. McGlone tried to go to the net there. Turned away. Pass out in front, stopped again there by Watson. Matt Giles doing some good whacking down there, trying to slow things down. Billings will come off the bench and pick up the ball at mid-floor. Sweeney all over him. Strips the ball for a moment. Now the ball's loose and Sweeney's taking it away. Kyle Sweeney. Return, Crosby, and he gets it by Watson, but not by the post. Here come the Rock again. Sandy Chapman leading the charge this time for the Rock. 5.5 to go in the third quarter. 14-7, Toronto leads. Pass will come across the floor and find Casey Behrens. Behrens dishes it off down low for Manning. Back for Behrens. Loose on the floor. Loose again. Manning's got it. 3 seconds on the shot. And Miller makes the save on Leblanc.
It almost seems right now that Toronto's offense can do nothing wrong. The ball seems to be just bouncing back into their stick every opportunity.
Crosby got a step on Gilbert there. Dishes it off, and it ended up that nobody in the same jersey as Crosby was waiting there on the crease for that pass. Phil Sanderson will hit mid-floor, trying to buy himself a little bit of time and some space. He'll float one across the floor that's picked off there, now loose on the floor, now gobbled up. Snyder switches, will dish it off there, and the ball popped out of the stick of Max Sebald, and he couldn't get the shot away. Loose on the floor. Nobody's got it just yet. Watson will watch it go around behind the net, and we're going to have a penalty coming up, and it's going to be Jeff Snyder going off again as Angelo Cafagna has his arm up in the air. There's a delayed call coming here. Bob Watson already to the bench.
This will be his fourth of the night, too.
15 seconds on the shot clock to work with here for Toronto. That pass picked off as Kyle Sweeney has had a pretty active stick tonight. He's picked off a lot of passes, stripped away a few balls there in the process as well tonight. And he has been pretty good tonight, and he's put a ball in the back of the net too. But here, Philadelphia is going to be shorthanded as it is again. Jeff Snyder going off this time for a hold. 3:49 to go in the third quarter. We're going to take a short break. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on the NLL Network.
This is your chance to get way into the game with Proline and the Toronto Rock.
Fans, it's time for our Backleague Construct a Player contest. Our two contestants tonight are Bernie and Jessica, and what they have to do is construct these racks at the end with all the Toronto Rock equipment that they have to wear. So they have to do the shoulder pads, the kidney pads, the knee pads, the helmet, everything your Toronto Rock players wear. Whoever does that the fastest will go home with this amazing 32-inch flat screen TV courtesy of Backleague Construction. Contestants, are you ready? So one piece of equipment at a time. On your marks, get set, go! All right, neck and neck. Hustle, Bernie! Knee pads, all right, they're on there. Come on, guys, you gotta hustle! You guys are neck and neck. Bernie, you gotta hustle. Jessica's beating you. All right, Jessica, you're slowing down. Come on, Bernie. Looks like Bernie's gonna take it. You gotta hustle, Jessica. Go get the helmet. Hustle, hustle.
Welcome back to the National Lacrosse League here on the NLL Network. Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Mark Mesh, the official mesh of the National Lacrosse League. Mark Mesh is a pocket that catches the ball in tight situations and places a shot with perfect accuracy. If it's your dream to play in the NLL, give yourself the advantage with Mark Mesh. For more information, visit markmesh.com. That's marcmesh.com. 14-7 the score. Toronto Rock lead the Philadelphia Wings. So there you hear it in the building here, 997. He's got 6 points here tonight, 2 goals, 4 assists, and he needs 3 points to hit 1,000 for his career.
And a power play to start with.
And lots of time left in this game as well. Blaine Manning, Colin Doyle. Off for Billings, back for Doyle. Down to the crease, was looking for Squire, but it was slapped away. And it's Taylor Ray that comes up with it for Philadelphia. Ward accepts that pass and will now go on the kill here for the Wings. McGlone sees a lot of time really in all situations for this Philadelphia Wings team. Being checked there by Gilbert, throws a couple of fakes. McGlone tried to do something around the back there that didn't work out. Loose ball's picked up, and we actually saw McGlone score a goal from behind the net last year while playing for Toronto. So he likes to try the tricky stuff once in a while, and sometimes in a shorthanded situation like that, you might see him try to dip into the bag of tricks. Billings. Doyle behind the back. Shot from Leblanc. Stop. Squire trying for the putback, but he was knocked down to the floor. Manning. Doyle. Back for Manning, who creeps in. He shoots, and a big stop there. Loose ball recovered again by the Rock, and Toronto dominating things in terms of loose balls here tonight. Shot, and that one is hard off the post, and it is going to roll all the way back down the floor, and Bob Watson has got to step out and grab it. Still 23 seconds left now in the Rock power play. Billings tried to pass down to the crease. Manning had it for a moment. He thought he came out of the scrum with it, but he couldn't just keep the handle on that ball, and it's bounced ahead. And it'll be the Philadelphia Wings killing off the last couple of seconds of the Jeff Snyder penalty. So the Wings are back to full strength now.
Mike, I don't know about you, but I thought the power play for the Rock was more effective when Doyle was down lower and not at the top of the power play.
Here's a break in transition for Sandy Chapman, but he's going to slam the brakes on, and I have to agree that especially in the first couple of weeks of the season when Doyle was running it from down low, it was pretty impressive, but they are up by 7 goals here tonight. I guess we can't be too picky about what's going on tonight for the Rock. Blaine Manning has some room now up the middle, and he dumped it off. And loose ball on the floor, and a little bit of an elbow thrown there by Doyle. Picked up by LeBlanc. Doyle clutches and scores. 998, his 3rd goal of the night.
Great work by the Rock. What made the goal was their non-stop pressure to get the ball back. How many times did they get shots back that they never had any reason to get that ball back? They're working hard on that part of the game.
Jeff Snyder moves in. His bouncer goes well over the net. He'll feed it off for Wales. He's looking for Westervelt. Westervelt's got it. He'll just shovel it off. Lots of time to work with here. Crosby back across the floor. Huntley will get it. Huntley takes a couple of pushes in there, fights his way in and scores. Huntley with a big goal here in the late stages of this 3rd quarter for the Wings.
One thing I will say about Kevin Huntley, he's never not been able to shoot. His career at Hopkins, he made a living out of shooting. And this ball right here, he made a nice little bounce shot that actually went off Bob Watson's toe and came up and just caught the top corner. But give him credit. He did a great job beating the guy up high and let a nice bounce shot go.
Wales steps in and shoots. Watson makes a save, a little extra traffic in the crease. It's going to bring about a whistle, and everybody will get untangled in there as Giles was mixed up with Watson.
Referee Rick Crowder's being overruled here by his partner and saying that the hit was with no ball in the stick, therefore ball's going back to Philadelphia.
And the Wings have their goaltender on the bench, so they've got a 6-on-5 advantage on the floor right now. Huntley will move it down behind the goal. Now he'll get it back. He'll look to shoot. Watson steps out to make that save, and Crosby was just trying to rake it into the net as the time was winding down in the third quarter, and it does so with the Toronto Rock leading Philadelphia 15-8. Don't forget that tonight's game is brought to you in part by wallu.com. Decorate your home or office with a life-size decal of the logo of your favorite NLL team or a decal of your favorite NLL player. Show your pride with a team or player decal exclusively from Wallu. For more information, visit wallu.com. That's wall-u.com. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on the NLL Network. Back in a moment.
He's been a season ticket holder with us since 2005, and his favorite memory with the Toronto Rock is when he sat in these seats for the very first time and knew they would be his for life. So on behalf of the Toronto Rock organization, I'd like to present you with this prize pack. And congratulations and enjoy the rest of the game.
Hey Rock fans, I'm here in section 103 with the very, very large and special group. Backley Construction is here tonight. You guys having fun? Here, go Rock, go guys!
Welcome back to the National Lacrosse League on the NLL Network. Tonight, we're here in Toronto at the Air Canada Centre where the Rock lead the Wings 15-8. Shots on goal 47-30 favoring Toronto. And we're just about to get underway with fourth quarter action. The big one to follow right now, though, Colin Doyle, 998 points in his career, and that's because he's picked up 7 points tonight, 3 goals, 4 assists, so he needs just 2 points to make history and become the third player in league history to hit the 1,000 mark. And as we mentioned, John Tavares, number 1, Gary Gate, number 2 in all-time scoring, and Colin Doyle is number 3 in all-time scoring, but he will become just the third player to reach that mark, possibly here tonight.
And if you were to ask Colin Doyle, he'd be
I understand there's a few Wings fans in the building tonight. Where you at?
Pat McCready
Where's
creeps
my Rock family
in,
of
dumps it off,
fans?
pass it to Little Manning, scores! Blaine Manning going up the gut, and the Rock have another one up on the board, 16-8.
And it was funny to watch Blaine Manning. He realized they had numbers, and he was telling Pat McCready, get the ball down, get the ball down, get the ball down. You could see his hand movement, and he got the ball down into Cam Woods, and Manning just completed his break through the middle and took the pass.
Score by number 16, Blaine Manning. Assist to number 22, Cam Woods, and number 10, Pat McCready. Time of the goal, 26 seconds.
Scott Campbell with the ball off the draw.
And Woods at 26
Now you see a couple of D guys drawing assists there for Toronto on the play with Woods and McCready getting the helpers. Steph Leblanc gets pushed out there by McGlone. Snyder now watching Manning. The switch. Sweeney comes at him. The dish. They score. Casey Behrens finishes, and it's 17-8 Toronto.
I don't know what else we can say. Right now, Casey Burns is putting on a clinic. It almost reminds me of Aaron Wilson when he was playing with Toronto. He just does such a great job in such tight quarters and corrals that pass and is able to finish in those tight quarters. That's an amazing feat to be able to do in this game.
Blaine Manning and number 17, Stefan Leblanc. The time of the goal, 1:02. Bearns from Manning and Leblanc at 1 minute, 2 seconds.
Well, Bearns definitely put the ball in the net, and of course he scored over 30 goals twice in his NLL career. Came in his first couple of years in the league, but he can be a 30-goal scorer in this league, and he keeps getting looks at the net, and the way he's working with Blaine Manning as well on that side and popping out on the power play coming off the crease. He's got a chance to put up some big numbers this year. There's a shot from Billings that doesn't go, and LeBlanc trying a bit of an awkward finish there that missed the mark, and quickly running the ball up the floor is Max Sebald. Sebald will leave it there for Sims. Now Sebald will head off. McGlone trying to bust his way to the net. There you saw he faked over the back, dishes it off. They score! The Wings sticking around in this one. They may be down by 8, but they're still working hard as Jason Crosby is the man who finds the back of the net as we take another look at it.
And Jason Crosby does a great job sliding down behind the goal line, taking the pass from McGlone, and just flat out beat Cam Woods. That's one that Cam Woods would love to have back, because Cam Woods prides himself in his defense, but McGlone actually made that play in carrying the ball, and with the step behind the net by
and Sims at 2 minutes, 2 seconds.
And it's nice to see even Jason Crosby. We saw in the warm-up out here tonight. He was out on the floor, had his kids out, his ball boys. It's a home game essentially for him, being from the area. There's a trip. Campbell eventually stripped to the ball, and Taylor Ray is there to pick it up.
I'm surprised there was no call on that one.
Ray with some room, and that one is gobbled up by Bob Watson. 17-9, 12-12 to go in the fourth quarter. Pat McCready to stall things for a moment, and he'll dish it off. Billings trying to work around his man. Now Billings thinking about loading it up, floats one into the middle, and Doyle, he was slowed down going to the net there. And now this ball may be turned over. Still loose on the floor. Lots of guys whacking at it, but it is the Wings that are able to come up with it. McGlone, he fires a pass. It's knocked down. And here come the Rocks. Sandy Chapman turns just before stepping over mid-floor to make sure everything was still legal.
Excellent floor presence, knowing where you are at all times.
Billings across the floor. LeBlanc turned away. But again, we see the Rock able to be the ones that are first to that loose ball. They've done it all night here. Right down on the crease, a couple of fakes and another nice stop by Brandon Miller, who seemed to be hobbled a little bit by that one as he's shaking it off as it got him, looked like on the right foot somewhere where it wasn't covered up.
All of a sudden it looks like Philadelphia is doing a job. They've got one guy on Colin Doyle. They're denying him the ball.
Here's Billings, a few fakes, and they score!
Oh, yeah!
That one dropped just inside the post as Brandon Miller fishes it out. And the Rock have now again doubled the Wings, 18-9.
And you can tell by Brandon Miller's presence, just his shoulders, he did not like that. He thought he had that ball, and it just basically rolled down his arm and into the bottom of the net. But a great job by Billings coming out of the corner.
Garrett Billings. Assistant number 17, Stefan LeBlanc, and number 44, Stephen Hoare. Time of the goal, 4:32.
So no point for Doyle on that goal.
4 minutes, 32 seconds.
He was on the floor, but didn't pick up either assist. Billings has it again, working against Sweeney. Now works against Levine. LeBlanc, little head fake in there to get around one man. Pass into the corner, ends up into the stick of Colin Doyle. Doyle trying to find some room. One-handed out in front. Billings can't knock it down. Jordan Levine may have a little bit of a break. He wants to go to the net, but he's turned away quickly by a hard-charging Rob Marshall coming off the bench. Sebald will dish it, and he'll head off. Matt Giles with it. Pushed a little there by Marshall. Giles maybe should have shot that ball once he got in tight like that instead of dishing it across. Westervelt, maybe he'll take the same route. He's turned away, though. Westervelt around the top. He'll shoot. Watson makes the save. Loose ball right there, picked up again by the Rock. And that may be one of the largest differences in this game, despite the fact it's a 9-goal spread. And you'd say Toronto's shooters may have just been better, but Toronto's offense on loose balls has just been dominant compared to what Philadelphia has been able to do at the offensive end of the floor.
I would love to see what the situation is. I know we see what the shots are, but I'd love to see what the loose ball ratio is.
Miller out of his net and in a bit of trouble. He's able to move the ball along. Sweeney steps over mid-floor with it. Takes the handoff.
Trust me on one thing. Brandon Miller knows how to handle a ball. Because I used to coach him, and he played forward in field lacrosse. Believe me, he knows what he's doing with a ball in his stick.
We'll take a break here. 18-9 the score. 8:40 to go in the fourth quarter. Back with more from Toronto. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on the NLL Network.
The cost of these magnets is a donation to cancer research, so be sure to find the girls and donate to a wonderful cause. Join your favorite Toronto Rock players and the Toronto Hot Rocks after every game at Jack Astor's 133 John Street. Meet the players and enjoy Miller Genuine Draft bottles for only $5 after the game. Jack Astor's on John Street, home of the official Toronto Rock post-game party. Before, during, or after the game, visit Pizza Pizza for a hot and fresh slice. Now more convenient than ever, order online at pizzapizza.ca or call 967-1111. Ontario's #1 pizza is proud to be the official pizza of your Toronto Rock.
Hey fans, time to dig out those 50-50 tickets. We got a winner for you in tonight's Rock 50-50 draw. If you've got ticket number 2117, you're the lucky winner of $3,425 in tonight's Rock 50-50 draw. That's 2117. Please head directly to guest services at Gate 1 and claim your prize. The Rock hit the road tomorrow night to face off against the Buffalo Bandits before returning here to the ACC for the next home
Welcome
game
back to Toronto. It's the National Lacrosse League on the NLL Network, and we do have to remind you that, of course, tomorrow night's game between the Orlando Titans and the Philadelphia Wings in Philadelphia has been canceled. So the next Wings home game is February the 13th when the Buffalo Bandits are in town. Game time is 8 o'clock. You can order your tickets online at wingslax.com. That's wingslax.com. And of course, keep your eye on the Wings website and NLL.com for the reschedule of the Philadelphia-Orlando game.
Do you realize what you just said?
What did I say?
Bandit.
Bandits. I love the Bandits. I just love going down there. I was hoping to get down tomorrow night, but unfortunately I got to head down to the Baltimore-Washington area to visit some family on Sunday and take in a little...
may not be.
Well, I've actually, this is my 5th reschedule already in flight, so we'll see.
That's exactly where it's hitting. Baltimore, Washington, Philadelphia.
Yep, we hope everybody's okay down in that area. They're being blasted right now by some snow, but hopefully they'll have it cleaned up by tomorrow night and I can still get out.
I wish you luck and I hope you can.
Thank you. Jordan Levine will dish it off there for Drew Westervelt. So we've got 7:51 to go in the fourth quarter. 18-9 is the score. Westervelt on the ball. Nice little switch down there, and Dan Teat finishes down low, and that's the 10th goal of the night for the Philadelphia Wings.
And Dan Teat's one of those players. You can't let him roll off of a pick or a screen and nobody pick him up, because he will absolutely burn you 99 times out of 100, and he proves it right there. He comes off the fake screen, takes one roll, takes the ball off a great feed, and a nice little bounce shot and a low glove shot.
Yeah, he's proven that he can do it year after year. He's an 8-time 20-goal scorer in the league and had 7 consecutive 20-goal seasons from 2001 to 2007. And there's another chance down low, this time coming from Westervelt. And it's Bob Watson who came across to make another big save. He's faced 36 shots tonight. Just 10 have gotten by him. And a 10-second violation is called against Toronto here, which will give Philadelphia the ball back and a fresh 30.
I think Phil Sanderson might have had a little case of a stick up around his neck. Maybe.
Loose ball on the floor, picked up for a moment. Now it's bobbled, but here's a break now for Rob Marshall in alone and stopped by Miller. And where's the ball?
That's a good question. Did his own player knock him and the ball in the net?
Well, it doesn't look like there's too much discussion on the floor. Perhaps if this was a closer game, you might get a little more, but...
Maybe. I don't see anything yellow in Troy's hand right now.
6:47 to go here in the fourth quarter now. Huntley now with a little bit of room. Will dish it off. Long shot. Stopped by Watson. The putback from Sims. And Watson has got that too. Pat McCready at mid-floor with the ball now. Will just step over. Push it to the far side. 6:23 to go. Colin Doyle still needs 2 points. There's a shot that goes off the crossbar. Stays in play. Pass across the floor. That one goes off the shin of Steph Leblanc and up and out of play. Turnover there by the Rock. We haven't seen them too sloppy in any situation really tonight, but in that case, it cost them the ball. Going to the net, they score. Great move there by Bill McGlone as he went to the air to finish. Take another look at this one, folks.
Whoa. I think there's a good challenge there. I think his foot was on that line. Right there. Well, you're not going to see it, I guess, in an 18-11 game. You're not going to waste it. But I thought there was a good opportunity there for a challenge.
Definitely the prettiest goal of the night for the Philadelphia Wings.
Yes. Individual effort and a nice play going across the crease.
Bill McGlone, assistant number 88, Kyle Wales, and number 17, Jordan Levine. Time of the goal,
5:32 to go in the fourth quarter.
From Wales and
the big question still to be answered is Colin Doyle going to be a part of 2 more goals here tonight? Shot scores!
Got her back.
Steph Leblanc again.
What a great swim move. Takes the ball on the inside and just spins right around Matt Giles. In fact, Giles is lucky he didn't get called for a hold right there, but that is solid individual effort, taking that ball in the crowd and rolling right around Matt Giles.
Assistant number 13, Garrett Billings, and number 33, Casey Beers. The time of the goal, 9:40. LeBlanc,
19-11.
Beers and Billings at 9 minutes 40 seconds.
That ball pops loose, and Pat McCready's there. Jeff Snyder, a little bit slow getting up, has a look at the official, and also has a few words for him on the way by. Hobbins, push it back across the floor. Colin Doyle. Pushed out. Pardon me, and the 30 expires. So he just floats it into the corner.
That's a play that Les Bartley used to call the 5-second rule.
And you see a lot of teams abide by that.
Hey fans, will be a free
quite
shuttle
religiously
bus
in some cases.
4:38
4:38 to go in the fourth quarter. We'll take our last break here on the NLL Network. You are watching the National Lacrosse League here from the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. 19-11. The Rock lead it. More from the NLL Network in a moment.
Party at Jack Astor's 133 John Street. I'll see you there. Scoop up the Toronto Sun for rock-solid lacrosse coverage. When it comes to sports reporting, no one beats the Toronto Sun, the official newspaper of your Toronto Rock. Urban Clean is the official cleaner of the Toronto Rock.
The Rock rely on Trainer's Choice braces, keeping you in the game. Trainer's Choice braces, now available at participating Shoppers Drug Mart stores.
Welcome back to Toronto, where the Rock lead the Philadelphia Wings 19-11, 4:38 to go. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on the NLL Network. And following tonight's game, the next Rock home game is 1 week from tonight when the Rock hosts the Edmonton Rush. Game time here at the Air Canada Centre next Friday at 7:30. Make sure you're here as Brody Merrill, Kevin Prout, and the New Look Rush take on the Rock here at the ACC. For tickets, log on to TorontoRock.com. Shot there from Huntley. Caught Watson up high. And now they're going to go to work on offense again, as this time they're able to get that second opportunity, and they're working on a third here. Loose ball on the floor, though, and it's still going to be a Philadelphia ball, and we actually got the wave going around here in the lower bowl of the Air Canada Centre tonight. Teat, Giles, across the floor. Huntley couldn't handle it. And it's not going to be over and back. It was very close, and Cafania was looking at that line saying, I wonder, but
He had the whistle up.
and that ball's going to roll right back to Bob Watson, where the Rock are going to be able to get things started again.
Easy, brothers and sisters, easy.
Billings. Down low again for Casey Behrens. Kim Squire. It's a good hack in there. There's lots of room opening up for Leblanc, and big stop in there. Ball outlet. Woods has lost his stick. McGlone getting himself a little bit of extra room, and Watson there again to stop things. 3 minutes to go now in quarter number 4. That ball bounces just wide of Rob Blaisdell in the Philadelphia net as he's come on in the last few minutes to work in relief of Brandon Miller.
That might be a speed thing by Coach Huntley, knowing that he's going to have to be pulling him.
Westervelt on that ball, just 7 seconds on the shot clock. Giles works his way down. And stopped there by Watson with 2:19 to go now. Are we going to see Colin Doyle? He hasn't been out there every time on offense in the last few minutes.
He's standing at the back of the bench right beside Troy. You might not see him.
Ball on the floor, taken away there by Ward, trying to direct some traffic. Ward with some room, shoots, and a kick save by Watson. That ball will bounce up and out of play.
You don't normally see a ball bounce that far off a goalie forward and go out of play. That was literally a kick save and a beauty.
There's a shot low to high from Crosby that screamed over the cage. Loose ball's picked up there by Campbell, and he was held a little bit, but no call.
A little bit?
I had to say a little bit. Come on.
I think the only thing he didn't do was hog tie his feet.
1:34 to go in the fourth quarter. 19-11, 57-43 of the shots on goal now.
I'm pretty sure you won't see Colin Doyle on the floor the rest of the game.
Interesting. So the fans in Buffalo tomorrow night will have a chance to witness history, I'm sure. Crosby tried something a little fancy there that didn't get through. Giles will just bounce the ball back to avoid the over and back call. The ball's turned over, and Jeff Gilbert has it now on the near side as we've got 1 minute to go here in the fourth quarter. 19-11, Toronto leading it by 8. Billings will move it off there for Squire. Squire getting roughed up pretty good there by Seabold as he's pretty aggressive on defense now. That shot rattles around behind Blazer off both posts, I think, and out.
I think that actually went up and under his sweater at the back and came back out of his sweater. Wow.
23 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Turnover there. Hobbins has a chance on the run, and he'll pull it out. Pass across the floor to Marshall. He will do the same in pulling it out.
10 seconds, help your boy.
Woods has it. Send it across the floor, and the Toronto Rock stay perfect at home in this 2010 NLL season and will move to 4-1. And Jeff Snyder says he may want a dance partner at the end of the game.
Toronto Rock 19, Philadelphia 11.
And Snyder's still doing some jawing right at center, and
Woodsy will oblige him.
we're still talking, and now everybody kind of in the mix in the middle of the floor, and Snyder walks off the floor, and the Toronto Rock will walk away and hop on a bus to head down to Buffalo. 19-11, they are victorious here tonight. 58-43, the shots on goal tonight. And, you know, when this game started out, the early going, it looked like Philadelphia was going to match them back and forth. It was a close game through the first quarter, and then just seemed like there was a point in the second quarter where Toronto just made good on all their opportunities, weren't losing many loose ball battles, and that seemed to be a big difference in this game. Those loose balls were huge tonight.
Oh, 100%. I think the difference in the game, we can say it was the shots, we can say it was a lot of things, but I think your loose balls was the big difference in this game, and Toronto came out well on top in that aspect. But you can't take anything away from Philadelphia. They did not quit. They worked hard, and they started to get their offense moving again towards the end of the game. So, you know what? I think there's a lot of potential sitting there on that team right now.
19-11 the score here tonight in Toronto, and we will